Press the button, subscribe.
Fight fans, welcome, and tonight we have a great preview of a monster fight on Saturday, the 26th of April, and I've got two fantastic guests here with me. Steve Spivak, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm well. You, Darren?
I'm alright, thank you, mate, cheers.
Thank you.
And Rob Boxing Shrew, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Evening, gents. Darren, brilliant to have you back, mate.
Thank you, mate, and it's great to be back on, and before we start the preview of the show, I just want to say to you two guys in particular, and lots of followers on social media, X particularly, where I talk a lot of boxing, to thank you all for the support during a tough time I've had. Like I say, particularly you two have been in contact with me over the period of the bad time that I've had in my life with the passing away of my dad. So I really appreciate the support you've both given me as well.
No problem, mate.
Yeah, no worries, Darren.
Thank you, guys.
No
Really
problem.
appreciate it. So let's get back to doing what we do best then. And it's been a long time since I've done an introduction with the fight fans. Welcome. So this Saturday, as I said, 26th of April, Eubank versus Benn. It's been a long time coming. It's finally arriving. The fight will take place at Spurs, as I said, and it's a fight that's captured the public's attention. Are you excited for this fight? And first of all, I will go to you, Steve. How do you feel about this fight? Are you excited for it?
It's kind of mixed feelings. I know what kind of Rob may say. There is excitement about it. But basically, this fight is for the casual fans out there. You got two fighters fighting on their father's names, basically. The weights, obviously, are different. It's just a fight for the casuals. It's two sons making lots of money in one fight. That's the way I see it. There's going to be excitement around it. I'm not mega excited, to be honest with you, but I'll probably watch it.
That's a great start to the show. So, Rob, I've seen some of your articles on Twitter, X, about what you feel about these fights. But are you excited for it the weekend?
Operation Greater Good. I feel, yeah. Team Eubank checking in here. I mean, I am looking forward to it, actually. Steve made a good point there that it's definitely a casuals market fight. I mean, they haven't sold all the tickets yet, but there'll be a lot of pay-per-views. I would imagine there'll be, what do you reckon, 1 million pay-per-views done this weekend probably on this. You got the generation of their fathers. But yeah, like Chris said, Chris, it's Chris Eubank Jr. I got Eubank on the mind.
It was Chris.
like Steve said, it's, if you had one welterweight who'd never won as much as a regional title fight against a middleweight who has won an IBO title, you wouldn't watch it, would you? So, but stick the names on the poster, and here we are. Well,
as we said about the public attention with this, the fight will take place at the Spurs ground in a middleweight contest, £160. In 2002, the postponed fight was supposed to be at a catch weight of £157. In this fight, there'll be a £10 rehydration clause, which will be for Chris Eubank Jr. only, which means the secondary weigh-in on fight day, he can't weigh any more than £170. Conor Benn, of course, is a welterweight naturally at £147, so he's coming up 2 weight divisions. So we know the rules, we know the regulations. How do you see the fight going? First, I'll ask you this time, Rob. How do you see the fight going, and do you think the rules will particularly favour a particular fighter?
I think because Conor Benn's the smaller fighter, naturally, you have to say that the rehydration clause is more beneficial to him. I don't feel that it's as criminal, shall we say, as the first time around where they were trying to drain him down to 157. I'm not sure, was there a rehydration clause on the original fight as well? I feel there may have been.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really bad. I mean, this time, I get it. If you're going to get a middleweight fight a welterweight, you've got to bridge the gap somehow. And I feel like I'm defending Conor Benn here. I need a wash, but I get it. I do get it. And it does, of course, it plays into Conor Benn's hands because he's the smaller guy. Would you agree, Steve?
No, I wouldn't say that, really. When you're looking at, I was looking at this today, that rehydration clause is actually IBF mandatory. They do it for all their titles at £10.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that before.
Okay, no, I didn't. No.
Yeah, they do. Cal Brook had to do it all the time.
So that's mandatory for them. So any IBF title is mandatory. I just think, Eubank, you looked at him last time. He was killing himself to make that weight.
He was, yeah.
We've all seen them photos, and damn, he didn't have an ounce of fat on him, did he?
Made it, though, didn't he?
Yeah. So looking at it this time, I don't know. It depends on the weighing and how they look on the scales. I think a lot will come down to that as well. I don't think the £10 rehydration clause is too much of a worry, to be honest with you. But it's how Eubank makes that weight in the first place. I think that probably be the thing people will be looking at. Is he on course to make that weight come obviously Friday weighing day? Yeah.
And how do you see the fight going?
I think Eubank's the bigger guy. I think he'll control it, and I think he'll win it.
On points or stoppage?
It'd be go to the cards.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there'd be a few scary moments, maybe. Benn could be dangerous for a few opening rounds, but ultimately, I think just Eubank's going to be the bigger, smarter guy, and just get the nod on the cards.
Well, I think when you compare the controversy of the 2022 fight that was supposed to happen, when you look at this fight now, I'm much more accepting of this fight with these regulations and rules than what it was in 2022. I don't think it's nowhere near as bad. So I, like when you was talking off camera, Steve, as regards avid boxing fans, we probably should be turning our backs on.
Yeah, as a purist, we should be turning our heads in shame.
Exactly.
And boycotting the whole thing, really. But what it does do for them casual fans, it's bringing a lot of attention to boxing. So I take it as a positive in that way. So you bring a lot of casual fans into boxing who maybe he's not heard of. Clark, Crispin Smith, them kind of guys on the undercard. It's going to bring a lot of attention to other boxers as well. So there's a plus to it. There is benefits to this fight as well.
Yeah, and I like I say, I'm definitely in favour more of this one than the 2022. But I do think this one is more in Eubank's favour. I just think 2 weight divisions is a hell of a lot for Conor Benn to come up, and I think Chris Eubank Jr. with the experience he's had, and I know a lot of people say about the experience and they've fought the better opposition. I do think that is a big key point in this fight. I think that he's just going to have a bit too much experience for Conor Benn, but I do think that Conor Benn for the first 6 rounds is going to be dangerous with the way I think he will come out. But I think if Eubank Jr. can weather the storm and take it later rounds, even though he's the older guy, I do think he's at the more natural way, and I do think he will be able to take the win. And I also think if Eubank wins, I think it will be points. How about you, Rob?
I mean, you boys between you took words out of my mouth there. Really, just fought at a better level, hasn't he, Eubank? Yes, he's had wins, losses. He's fought at fringe, if not world level, in this weight category. As I said, I know it was tongue in cheek earlier, but Conor Benn hasn't even won a regional title. Conor Benn's best performances have been with a cloud over him now, let's be honest. The way he blasted out Van Heerden, Vargas, Algieri.
Yeah.
Looking back, you know where I'm going. So, the power seems to have gone. Travelling up to middleweight, I don't know. I do agree with Darren. I think he will come out fast. I won't say bull in a china shop, but I feel that he's going to come out all guns blazing. But the one thing Eubank hasn't lost, even though he's declined, is his engine. He's got a great engine.
I agree with that, yeah.
And I feel that if it goes past 6 or 7, I think Ben could tire, especially with all that muscle mass that he would have put on to get to 160. And I think then Eubank will take control. And I agree with you. I don't know what you predicted there, Darren, but
Yeah.
Steve, on points, I
Yeah,
would go
points.
with Eubank on points all day.
I wanted one of us to disagree then, but we're all well, I mean, we're all massive boxing fans on here. Let's hope we get this right.
Imagine if I'd have said, yeah, Benn round one.
Yeah. Well, I just hope that we all get this right, because we look silly if we don't between the three of us. But I think experience is going to be key here. But I mean, the younger, fresher guy, well, I say fresher guy, but the younger guy is obviously Conor Benn. But I do think it's a big ask for two weight divisions to go up and go the 12 rounds. I mean, if you look at a lot of the opinions on social media, a lot of the opinions are of a stoppage and it definitely not going 12 rounds. But I've got a feeling it will go the 12 rounds. But so Chris Eubank Senior, obviously Eubank Jr.'s dad, doesn't agree with this fight. We've seen a lot of things over the few years since 2022. He made his opinions very clear then. He's made them very clear again, particularly last week. He's having nothing to do with this fight. He's not going to be by his son's side. I'm going to give my first opinion on this. The way I look at things a lot of the time from my own personal views, from your own life. And when I look at what's happened to me recently, losing my dad suddenly the way I did, and I look at people like Senior with his son saying, I won't be by his side, we're not talking and all this. I get that things happen in life and you have different opinions, but I just look at things and I think he hasn't committed a crime, he hasn't done anything really that bad. There obviously has other things gone on behind closed doors, but I just think surely you can bury the hatchet and have that connection and that what you had before. And if I was like that, and what's happened to me, that's how it ended. With my relationship ended with my dad like that, and I just look and think, bang your heads together and sort your mess out and have that relationship that you can have. But he's obviously not going to be there. He doesn't agree with things, and I just think it's really, really sad. And when you hear his comments of the way he feels and he's getting emotionally upset and that, I just think it's really, really sad to hear the way that relationship has fell apart. What do you think about that, Steve?
Yeah, well, Chris, he knows the dangers of boxing. He knows, rehydration is important in boxing, and when you start messing with stuff like that, you could potentially mess with someone's health.
Yeah, I do.
So
yeah.
He knows you don't have to, highlight what's happened to him during his career. He knows the dangers of boxing, and it's his son at the end of the day. He didn't want the fight. It's a money fight, and obviously Chris Eubank Jr. wants to chase the money, maybe over his dad's relationship. I'm not sure. I don't know the ins and outs.
There's surely got to have been more, though, hasn't there? Than from what we hear in the general public, there's surely got to have been more, hasn't there?
Yeah, I think so. It's sad to see it, but I know obviously Chris, wants to care for Junior. He doesn't want to see him hurt in the ring. I'm sure he doesn't want that. So he's caring for his own son's health, but obviously Chris Junior is thinking that elsewise. And like I said, maybe it's just the money. I hate to say.
Yeah, what I want to come to is what I said before. I do get like why he's pissed off with what's going on, but I just think like he still could. I agree with everything he's saying, Senior, but I do think he could still. But he's pretty much blaming Junior. Is he saying he doesn't want to speak to me, he doesn't want to hear me? So I do get that side, but I just wish they could rekindle that bond they had. And when I look at the way they were and the way they could be, I just think it's such a shame. What do you think, Rob?
Completely agree, boys. You're right. It's just sad, just really, really sad. If you take the boxing out of it, just to see, that sort of relationship, it is really sad. I actually, if you take the sentiment away and just purely boxing terms, I got it the first time around. Like, they were boiling Eubank Jr. down to a weight that he probably hadn't got down to. It was at 157 since he was like 18 or something like that. You know. And 3 years ago, he was probably in his early 30s. So I understood. And then the hindsight of Conor Benn popping, that was really dangerous. Do you know what I mean? Especially when, I think Steve alluded to it there. But, Chris Eubank's been in a situation in his career where, unfortunately, someone has seen the wrong side of the sport, you know.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Nigel Benn has as well, you know. But that doesn't seem to have come into the equation on his side of the fence, and no one seems to really have picked that up.
He's
to
not
be
been as
fair.
vocal, has he, though? So.
No, not at all, not at all. It's less
No.
dangerous for Connor, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's
and I
why-
do. Yeah, I do.
that's
I
why
do get.
he's not really put his 10p's worth in,
No.
I'm guessing, so.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't think it's fair, and I know. Look, it's bad blood, but Conor Benn has been very vocal in your dad doesn't like you. I think that's shit. I think that's really shit. I think, you know, there's fighting and then there is a line, and it's quite funny really, because he's spent this whole build up saying your dad doesn't like you, and then as soon as Eubank mentioned Nigel Benn, it was, don't you mention my dad. I was like, are you sure? Like, you spent the whole time.
Yeah.
But hey, look, Conor Benn be Conor Benn, but yeah, it's just really, really sad. Of course, you know, he loves his son, doesn't he? And he wants him to be safe. He wants to get out of the sport safe. And he's in the twilight of his career now. He's earned good money. He probably doesn't need to do this. So I get where he's coming from. But yeah, he should still be there on a night for him.
Yeah, the factor of the matter is, like, unless sort of Junior pulls out the fight, they ain't going to talk, are they? Like the way it is at the moment. Maybe once this fight's over with, they will rekindle something again. But it's this, well, in the public eye, it's the fight that's caused the problem. But I think there's been a lot of other things behind closed doors been
It's
going
all
on.
about business, yeah.
It's just, but the only thing is, when you're in the public eye, obviously, certain things get highlighted and other things don't. As regards the fight, so we've all given a prediction. We all think Eubank on points. It'd be really interesting to see what people watching this, what they think, if they can put it in the comments as well. But do you think the fight will live up to the hype and the build that we've had? I'll put that to Rob first. Sorry, go on then, Steve. Go on.
Yeah and no. I'm sure the atmosphere would be good come fight time. I was saying to you just before we went on, maybe a lot of people won't go to their seats until main event time. I'm not sure. But I think the atmosphere would be there. There'd be scrappy moments. I imagine when Conor Benn wants to get close and rough him up and stuff like that, there'd be roars and stuff. And then I think it eventually settle down.
Yeah. Would you say Eubank is definitely the technically better boxer?
I would, by far, yeah.
Yeah, I do as well, yeah. But do you think it will live up to the hype, Rob? Or do you think it'd be a scrappy fight? Or
I think it's as boring as Eubank wants to make it, because I feel like Eubank could bore himself to a point, bore us all to a point to win, to be fair. Keep him at range, pop shot, win rounds. He doesn't have to get himself into a trouble on the inside with Conor Benn. Why would you do that? I feel like it's as boring as Eubank makes it, to be fair.
That's all he has to do, isn't it? Really, keep him away.
Yeah.
a bit like Joshua Ruiz too. That sort of style.
Yeah.
The thing is though, like with this fight, even though we've all predicted the same result, it is still a hard one to predict, because you've got Eubank. I think he's 35. He's at the end, near the end of his career, really, and then you've got Conor Benn, who's had the problems he's had, stepping up the weight, and he's still young, and it still is a very hard one to predict. I mean, I've spoke to several people this week already that are all saying to me that they think Conor Benn's going to stop him, because they're listening to what Benn's saying and Nigel Benn's saying. So
are they big boxing fans?
Not
what
big.
Would you say they're casual? Like, because I feel
bit
like
more than casual.
Going to get on with Benn here. I really do.
I'd say they're a bit more than casual, but there is a few casuals in it.
What are you saying, Rob? People are getting brought into Benn's hype. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I can personal experiences have been a few people at work today saying Benn's going to smash him this weekend. I said, "Oh, really? When did you last watch Conor Benn?"
Yeah.
And they didn't have anything to say, and I was like, "Well, what have you gone off with that other than what you're hearing Eddie Hearn say? Because Eddie Hearn's the best promoter out there. Like he could sell sand to the Arabs. Do you know what I mean? He's unbelievable. And I sat down and I explained to this person at work, right? Conor Benn was powerful, right? He had this power during this period and then he popped for drugs that enhances your power, and then his power went, and now he's fighting a guy who's about a stone heavier than him, maybe under a stone heavier than him. Now, do you think he's going to blast him away? And when I brought it down to a level, they couldn't really answer the same. No. So it's definitely a casually led decision in general that Benn's going to win.
And I definitely agree. Like, since he come back and he had them 2 fights in America, like I think it was Dobson, I think it was the last guy. He did hit him with the kitchen sink, and he didn't go, did he? So
Neither did I as well, by the way. It wasn't a welterweight.
he was what? Sorry.
It wasn't a welterweight either, was it? It was 154, wasn't it? Or a catch weight.
Yeah, I
At
think
least,
might have been a catch weight. So when
Yeah.
you look at that he couldn't put that guy away, yeah, it's like for him talking, oh, I'm going to do this and do that to you, and I'll stop him in 3 rounds. I think he said, like, you are right. What do you have to go on? Particularly since he's come back of his last couple of fights, what do you have to go on really with that statement? You don't really have a lot, do you?
Yeah.
But we've also obviously got an undercard on this show. We'll go over them quite quickly. But as regards the show, am I right in saying there's one title fight on the card? And that's the British Cruiserweight title.
Yeah.
There's one title fight. So it's a big pay-per-view with one British title on the card, and that is Chev Clark versus Vidal Riley. You got Chev Clark, who's had 11 fights, 10 wins, 7 KOs. Vidal Riley, 12 fights, 12 wins, 7 KOs. We'll go to you first, Rob. How do you see this fight going? Who do you think wins?
I'd have to favour Chev Clark at the moment because he's gone up to European level. You know, I mean, if you take even the Olympic, you know, an amateur background before that, he's gone up to European level. It's not quite worked out. It's quite unlucky. He started slowly, didn't he? And he paid for it in the end. But and he's dropping back to British level. Vidal is coming up, isn't he, through English level, really?
Yeah.
So they're kind of meeting in the middle. So I'd have to sort of favour Chev, really. It's funny, I was on a show recently, and we were talking about Vidal Riley and how he was portrayed as this YouTuber, you know, KSI guy giving it a go. But you can't have it both ways. You know, you got Tommy Fury who's going on to Misfits, and we're saying, oh, it's ridiculous, you're not good enough, you're going over there. So you can't then slate someone from the other side coming into the real game. So like, I've actually got quite a bit of respect for Vidal Riley getting to this level, to be fair. What do you boys think?
Well, I think Chev Clark will win this fight, and I actually think he might have I think it was Vidal Riley, he's never lost, so I think Chev Clark might actually stop Vidal Riley. I think the European thing that Chev Clark done on the last fight, even though he lost on a split decision, I thought he was in a real tough, rugged fight, whereas I feel with Vidal Riley, he's had a lot of sort of things his own way in his fights, and he's not really had that tough, rugged fight. So I think Chev Clark might actually stop Vidal Riley, probably mid-rounds, something like that. I think Vidal Riley will get caught, so that's what I think. What about you, Steve?
I disagree. I like Vidal Riley.
That's what we want to hear, Steve.
Yeah, I've got a soft spot for him. I like him.
Okay.
I think he's on the up. I was going to say a points win for Riley for me.
Ooh.
Okay. Let's see who wins that one then.
I'll go with Chev on points. I would. So, but yeah,
three different ones.
Different predictions there. Yeah,
that's what we needed. Well, next fight, I think this is a cracker. Liam Smith versus Aaron McKenna, middleweight contest. Liam Smith, 38 fights, 4 losses, 1 draw, 20 KOs. Aaron McKenna, 19 fights, undefeated, 10 KOs. We'll go you first on this one, Rob.
Okay. I agree. I think this could be fight of the night. This is all about what Liam Smith has got left for me. I feel that, you know, we're looking at 18, 19 months ago that he lost to Eubank, but I'm giving him a pass on that because it was weird. I think he was weight drained. He did the weight terribly that week. I don't think he was fully fit. I feel like he was carrying an injury as well. That ankle was weird, wasn't it, that night as well?
Oh, yeah.
So I will give him a pass on that. I'm a bit worried about the inactivity just because, you know, the Josh Kelly fight fell through again very late. People are saying it was because of a weight.
Yeah.
Maybe you boys can enlighten me on what happened there. But
virus, the Josh Kelly fight.
Was it? Okay.
I think it was a virus, yeah.
Okay, these things happen, no problem. But I still go with the experience. He's fought in stadiums before. I mean, he couldn't have fought in a more ferocious atmosphere than Canelo away. Do you know what I mean? I know it'll probably be a little bit quieter Saturday night for him, but I just go with the experience. McKenna, good fighter, good lads, but I liken it to when Anthony Fowler stepped up against Liam Smith, and everyone thought Liam Smith was done then, and he blew him away, really, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to go with a Liam Smith stoppage on this one.
What are you saying, Steve? Going different?
I am. I just think.
Go on, Steve.
Smith, he's 36 now. Yeah, it's interesting to see what exactly he has got left in activity. You know, McKenna is 25, much younger. I was going to go McKenna on points for me in this one.
Well, I am a bit concerned about the inactivity with Liam Smith. I mean, was it September 2023 he was last out in the Eubank rematch? So, yeah, and then you've got a young, fresh Aaron McKenna. But if Liam Smith is on Songia, I do expect him to stop Aaron McKenna, because I don't think Aaron McKenna's, he's reached nothing of the likes of Liam Smith yet.
He's not fought anyone like Smith, has he? That's the test for him. And if he can get past this, wow, what a statement!
Well, when you look, a tough, durable guy, but in 2024, like Aaron McKenna, last but one fight was him in Mickey Ellison.
Yeah.
And that was an 8-rounder.
And I think this is the first time he's scheduled to go 12.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. It's the first one, and
scheduled to go 12. Yeah.
Yeah, and if it does go late, I do think it will find McKenna out. I think he's going to be a good fighter, and I think he can definitely come again, McKenna. But this is a big step up from where he's been, even though we have got the inactivity of Liam Smith. So I'd probably agree with Rob on this. I think Liam Smith will get a TKO stoppage here. So again, let's see who comes out with the winner on that one.
Down and total them up at the end.
Yeah, I'll watch it back and total them all up.
Have we got a beers and snacks bet on this one?
Oh
no.
Yeah,
We'll come to them in a few more shows, Tom, and I'm freshed up again. Next fight is a cruiserweight contest, another cruiserweight fight. Chris Billam-Smith versus Brandon Glanton, and they've had 22 fights each. Chris Billam-Smith 20 wins, Brandon Glanton 20 wins as well. Billam-Smith 13 KOs, 17 KOs for Brandon Glanton. Do you want to go first on this one, Steve?
Yeah. I'm a big CBS fan. I like Chris. It's that loss to Ramirez last out. How much has that taken out of him? Hopefully not a lot. I don't know much about Glanton, to be honest with you. I was leaning towards a Chris on the cards points win for this one. But it'd be interesting to see how he bounces back after that loss.
Well, I agree with you. I don't know too much about Brandon Glanton. I mean, when you look at his record, lost twice, 17 KOs in 22 fights. It's obviously he's a decent puncher. But when you look at who Chris Billam-Smith's been in with, Riakporhe, Masternak, Akoli, Ramirez, Isaac Chamberlain, Tommy McCarthy several years ago when he was better then. I just think that's what's going to see him through, Chris Billam-Smith. And I actually think that Ramirez fight, with having that loss, I think he'll want to put on a performance here. I mean, but when you look, a lot of the fights he's had with the 12-round wars, really, some of them. The Chamberlain fight was quite a brutal fight, really. The Masternak one weren't going well for him, was it, really, when Masternak He was losing, definitely. Yeah. I mean, that was only 3 fights ago, and then he beat Riakporhe, which Riakporhe, in all honesty, that night was crap, really, to what we thought he was going to be. But this is a bit of an unknown guy with Brandon Glanton. Like I said, I don't know too much about him. I just think in front of a home crowd in London, the English crowd, I just think that Billam-Smith's going to want to put on a show, and I expect him to win on points in a very, very good, exciting fight again, which Billam-Smith's in a hell of a lot of them. What do you think, Rob?
Completely agree again. Yeah, I'm a massive fan of Chris Billam-Smith. Like, he's testament that you don't need beef to sell a fight, and he's been in plenty off the back of a very pleasant build-up. It happens, you step up and you lose, don't you? And I feel that it's his second coming. This division is going to look very different in a year's time as well. So, this comeback trail, 2 or 3 fights, and he could find himself having a shot against someone who isn't Ramirez, isn't Opetaya, do you know what I mean? So it's a killer division. And I don't know about you boys, but I never expected him to get to world level.
No, I didn't at all.
When he was on these shows, I thought European would have been his absolute peak. So he's done brilliant. Very hard to dislike Chris Billam-Smith, isn't it? And I think 12 rounds will do him the world of good rather than a stoppage this weekend.
Yeah. So we're all going Chris Billam-Smith anyway. So we're not seeing an upset in that fight. No. And I don't know whether they're going to call this the chief support, the co-main event, or what. But we have got the trilogy. We've all not been waiting for.
The fight that no one wants to see again.
The fight that no one wants to see again, which is light heavyweight Anthony Yard versus Lyndon Arthur.
3.
3. Sorry, yeah. Anthony Yard, 29 fights, 26 wins, 24 KOs. Lyndon Arthur, 26 fights, 24 wins, 16 KOs. It is 1-1, so we will let him off with the trilogy here. I'll let you go first on this one then, Rob. I know you love this fight.
It's all right. Like Anthony Yard, he's always entertaining to watch, isn't he? And you boys probably saw it. I put something out earlier about his career is just weird, man. Like it's.
I did see that tweet.
Yeah, like he's fought Kovalev and he's fought Beterbiev, and that was probably the 2 best versions of Yard I've seen. And he lost both times. There was no disgrace in that. And then he's fought Lyndon Arthur in the sort of middle of a road, and anything other than that has been opponent to be announced. Like it's ridiculous the amount of times he's fought someone who's been announced on fight week. Such a topsy-turvy career, and it's really held him back. I feel like fighting the likes of Lyndon Arthur and all these low ranked fighters has not stood him in good stead by the time he's got to Beterbiev and Kovalev, and he's kind of gassed out and got stopped. And it's a shame, really, because without that amateur background, he really needed that better level of opposition during his career for me as a pro, and it's not happened. So here we are again, Lyndon Arthur.
So how do you see the fight going?
I think it'll be a carbon copy of the second fight. I know it's been 2.5 years, but you got to remember it was behind closed doors the first fight that Lyndon Arthur won on points, and it was a weird performance. It was around the time of Dubois losing to Joyce, same venue, I believe, and I didn't read too much into that at the time, and he absolutely destroyed him in the second fight, and I think within 6 rounds he'll do it again.
In a riveting fight?
I think it'll be better than people think. I think because Arthur is tough, isn't he? He got completely outclassed against Bivol, but he stayed in there and lost 120-107 3 times. Like that don't happen much, does it?
Yeah. Albeit Bivol's not really known as a puncher.
True.
As such.
True. Yeah, true. Fair, I'll give you that. Yeah.
But I do agree. Like I did actually think Bivol'd win that on points, because I do see as Bivol not really a massive puncher, but I do think Arthur is quite durable. He's had a few tough fights. I mean, even the Liam Cameron fight was quite a tough, rugged fight, wasn't it, for Lyndon Arthur? What do you think?
Was it a split decision?
Yeah.
Split or majority, yeah. So what do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I agree with Rob. I can't see it going past 6 Yard. I don't know why they're having this fight, to be honest with you. I know someone shouted out Ben Whittaker for Yard next.
Yeah, it could be. No? Yeah, I think that could be a good fight. So you reckon Yard stops him within 6 then?
Yeah, I agree with Rob. Yeah, I think it'd be a blowout.
Well, then you look at Lyndon Arthur's last performance, though, against Vilcans, which was a shocker, really, and it went the distance. He was expected to blow him away. Is he one of them fighters that sort of steps up?
What, to the occasion?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like the Vilcans fight, he was terrible, weren't he? I mean, everyone was expecting him to blow away, and then even though he lost to Beterbiev, he put in a really good performance, didn't he? I was just looking at the activity. Lyndon Arthur last time, his last fight, I didn't realise, was actually the Liam Cameron and Dimitri Bivol. So his last 2 fights, really, on the cards, are sort of better than what Anthony Yard's. And I mean, Anthony Yard's had Ralph Vilcans and Marko Nikolic. Yeah. His last 2 fights.
There you go.
So judging on that, this is a step up.
You can only fight who's put in front of you.
You can only fight who's put in front of you. But as regards his last 3 opponents, his opponent before that was Georgie Silva. So if you look at his last 3 opponents, Lyndon Arthur's a good step up for him.
I think Lyndon Arthur is his mobility has slowed as his career has gone on a little bit, and the worst thing you can be against Anthony Yard is immobile. You can't just stand there because he'll blow your head off. So maybe not, but I struggle. I struggle with Lyndon Arthur. Lines in the camp.
I think Yard will get probably a TKO stoppage, but I think it will go further than what you both think. I think Arthur will be on his bike a lot, try and stay out of trouble. Lyndon Arthur at times can be a bit negative, I think. He likes to do the jab, but he likes to be on the move. He likes to stick the jab out and not really engage. I mean, Anthony Yard will try and back him up on the ropes and stop him. But I think Arthur will be on the move a lot. So I'm expecting Yard probably 9-10 rounds, something like that. But do you think, I think me and you had a show about this before, Rob. Do you think it's a very good card? Do you think it's mediocre? What do you think?
I think we've all sort of spoke between ourselves on this at some point about how spoilt we've been with the Saudi cards, and it changes the way we look at these ones now. 3-4 years ago, if we'd got given this card at Tottenham, we'd be like, "Wow, that is some show!"
Definitely,
like, and
definitely.
Even now, like Chris Billum-Smith, that fight would sell out or do very well at Bournemouth Arena or Bournemouth Stadium. Vidal Riley and Chev Clark would probably sell out. Or the Copper Box will do very well somewhere like the Copper Box. So you look at them all in Liam Smith, Echo Arena, these fights would still probably headline or at least chief support a big card. So yeah. I think we're getting a bit spoiled by what we're getting out in Saudi at the minute, which is a good thing. But I think it's a good card pound for pound, especially when you think of all the money that's been put into the main event.
Yeah, just only one title fight on the card, and that's a British title.
Yeah.
What do you think?
There's only 4 fights, isn't there?
Well, yeah, 4 fights in the. Is it 4 fights in the main event?
Yeah.
5 in total. Yeah.
Well, there's a curfew, isn't there? There's a curfew on the stadium, so they have to get it done early.
I did see that. Yeah.
Deadline, haven't they, for times? I think so.
Yeah.
Well, me and you was talking as well, Steve, before we come on about price of tickets as well. There's a few seats left up at here. £115 if anyone's thinking of a late trip to.
I thought we were 300,000 in the queue.
We also spoke about that as well. I was going to go over that on the show, but I think everyone knows the score with that. We was all told, and I was led down the garden path about. I was telling people one day this fight will sell out, and 3 or 4 days before here we are, it still hasn't quite sold out. So
Chev Clark was plugging it earlier.
Really, they've definitely done a number on us with that one, but it will pretty much sell out. They are very, very close.
Yeah.
So it's good for British boxing to, like Steve pointed out earlier, with all the controversy, it's still good for the sport to have these major events, especially in the UK as well, when a lot of things are heading Saudi way now. So I think that's a good.
I've got a question for you boys. Do you think off the back of the main event that Conor Benn will finally get a shot at a British title?
Not if he loses.
I was thinking about Canelo and Eubank, to be honest with you.
I've seen that.
I'm ahead of that.
I did see that. They're saying about Ben Shalom saying he wants Canelo next.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
join the queue.
Yeah. Let's stay in your line, Ben. I think that's a great way to wrap it up anyway. I think that's been a great show. I hope everyone watching this enjoys it. Steve, really appreciate your time, mate. Great to have you on again. And Rob, once again, thanks for your time. It's been great to have your input on things as well. Fantastic.
Thanks, mate. Brilliant to have you back, Daz.
Cheers. And
good to see you back.
Thanks, guys. And I hope everyone enjoys the video. If everyone can like, comments, all much appreciated. If you agree with us, that's great. If you don't agree with us, that's also great too. All subscriptions massively appreciated. If everyone wants to follow me on X, it's in the scroll across the bottom. Roll On Fight Night, it's coming Saturday the 26th of April. Big night of British boxing. Thanks for all tuning in. Carry on subscribing. Thank you, guys.
Yes.